There are tons of videos about power banks on YouTube, and let's be honest, they are not the most fun to watch. But we all need a solid power bank because otherwise our phones are somewhat useless. And you don't want to be like this guy 15 years ago, stuck in a city with a dead phone and no way to call for help. But that's a story for another day. In this video, I will show you my 4 favorite power banks which I have bought with my own money and have used for at least 6 months. I love every single one of them, but only one can be the best. So let's jump in and start with the most surprising one on this list. This is what I wish I had 15 years ago in that situation where my phone died. It is Apple's MagSafe Battery Pack, and it's misunderstood and underrated, and here's why. About 3 months ago, while traveling, I was out and about using this battery pack all day long. And when I got home and got ready for bed, I plugged in my iPhone with a cable with the completely empty MagSafe battery pack attached. But when I woke up the next day, I noticed something that I couldn't believe. Not only was my iPhone fully charged, but so was the battery pack that was completely drained the night before. So then I Googled it, and it turns out that the iPhone can reverse wireless charge exactly one thing: Apple's MagSafe battery pack. But it doesn't end there, because this is also the most aesthetic, the slimmest, and overall best option to extend your iPhone's battery life. But that's exactly the thing, because in Apple's eyes, this is not a power bank. It is an extension of your iPhone's battery. So it doesn't charge your device to 100%, it doesn't have a huge capacity, quite the opposite, and it doesn't have a port to charge anything other than your iPhone. But it is a great option for this specific purpose, especially if you like the small form factor, the Apple ecosystem, which is honestly surprisingly good, and if you're okay with keeping this thing attached to your phone throughout the day. But it is far from perfect. For example, if you're out and about and you're creating some content, let's say you're out in the sun, this thing generates a ton of heat. So your iPhone will not only dim the screen extremely quickly, but charging might also slow down or even stop entirely if it gets too warm. So recording content on your phone in the sun with this thing attached is literally the worst thing you can do. And I've made this mistake more than once. Luckily, I have another power bank that solves this exact problem. So in comes this little guy. This is the Anker Nano foldable USB-C. I say USB-C because there's also a Lightning version if you're not on iPhone 15 or later yet. And here's the deal. The reason that this thing is so good is that it works without a cable, but it is not a wireless charger. Because with this foldable connector, it charges not only a lot faster than a wireless charger does, but it also generates way less heat. Don't get me wrong, this thing will not keep your phone cool when using it in direct summer sun. But it is a much better option than Apple's MagSafe battery pack in these situations. It also has an additional USB-C port that is used for charging itself, obviously, but if you have an extra cable with you, you can actually charge a second device with it too, which I think is pretty cool for a power bank this size. There's only one problem with this thing, and while I love it and I take it with me very often, it is kind of awkward to have it stick out of your phone like this. I'm always a little bit afraid of breaking this connector, and I fear that I might break my phone in the process. So this foldable connector is a blessing and a curse. And depending on you using a case and having like one of these like big protector cases, it might not even fit. This also goes for things like cameras or other gadgets where the USB-C port is a bit obstructed in some way, so it just doesn't fit. So during days or trips where I know I will charge more than just my phone, I actually use a completely different power bank that does this job way better. So this is going to be the first traditional power bank on this list, and I've gotten so much use out of this thing because I bought this in 2022, and since then I rarely go on any trip without it. And that is mainly because of 2 extremely useful features. So this is the Belkin Boostcharge Plus 10K. Serious question, who's naming these things? Quite a mouthful, but I promise it's worth it. Because one of the reasons that I love it so much is that it comes with integrated cables. I honestly don't know why not every power bank has this feature, because it has sure saved my ass a few times already. For example, since upgrading to the iPhone 15 Pro Max, I don't really carry around Lightning cables anymore. Except a few months ago when I was traveling and I forgot that my AirPods Pro at the time still used lightning. And I only realized this after I arrived at my hotel in another country. Luckily, I had this charger with me, which has both a lightning and a USB-C cable, and both of them work at the same time. And it doesn't actually end there, because it has this second feature that almost no other power bank has. And that is something called pass-through charging. That means you can charge this thing while it charges other devices. And then the best thing is that by the time you're ready to go on your next adventure the next day, this thing is fully charged and so are your devices. But sometimes even this thing isn't enough. And there are times where you need the biggest of boys. And I got just the thing. So this is the Anker PowerCore 24K 140W. Again, who's naming these things? And yeah, guys, I hear you. But
Rob, this thing is so fucking huge.
Well, yes and no. Hear me out, because this thing is special. First of all, it has a massive capacity. This thing can charge the iPhone 15 Pro Max between 4 and 5 times. It can also charge a MacBook Air around 1.5 times. And it can even give a MacBook Pro 14-inch one full charge. That's crazy, but it's not the most important thing. Because some tech like MacBooks actually won't charge with smaller power banks like all the ones in this video except this one. And that's because not every charger delivers energy at the same speed. This is all a bit complicated, but long story short, some gadgets need very fast energy delivery. And this thing is fast. So if you're out and about at a cafe or on a long flight or a train ride without a power plug, then this is the thing to get. It is extremely powerful, it charges up very fast, and it's overall the best all-rounder if you have the need for it. But as you can see, this thing is quite big, it is quite heavy, and it's generally not the best thing to carry around all day. So what is the best power bank then? Well, that depends on you. But a simple way to find out is to ask yourself one question. Do you mostly want to charge your phone, or do you want to charge other devices too? If it is just your phone, then the Anker Nano Foldable is definitely your best bet. It holds a big charge, it doesn't generate too much heat, it is very small, it charges your iPhone very fast, and I love this thing. But if you want to charge other devices on the go too, like your AirPods, your cameras, or your drones, then the Belkin Boostcharge Plus 10K is without a doubt my favorite. A power bank is an essential, but it's just one of the things that creators need every day. So if you want to know what else I take with me as a full-time creator myself, watch this video next where I give you the full rundown.